Welcome back. We now turn to some real politics here, and we deal with one of my favorites. I don't think I can say that about Dominic, Chris Christie. He's got a huge lead in the polls here. Many argue insurmountable at this point, and it is looking very good for the governor of New Jersey to keep his job. But the question is, how is he using this lead, and how much of it does it have to do with 2016 here as he's ramping up for a possible bid? He's been jet-setting around the country, a Vegas fundraiser with billionaire casino magnate Sheldon Adelson. Let's see how good that worked out for Newt Gingrich. He's been out to Colorado meeting with the Republican Governors Association. Be sure to expect to see him out there in both Iowa and New Hampshire shortly. Now, this is something obviously his opponent can't keep up with. But what I'm asking you guys is, he has certainly picked a few fights. Rand Paul couldn't have been a better whipping boy for him. When you look at metrics and you think about, all right, I got to win, but then I got to govern, how much of that, you always hear people say, oh, you never think about that until the election's over, but of course this is going to the thinking now, right?
Oh, yeah. No, of course it is. And he, I'm sure, is comfortable being governor of New Jersey at this point. He can probably, smart guy, he can probably operate that state with one half of his brain and run for president with the other half. But also, it helps him politically, I think, even in his home state, to be running for president. I know that that sounds strange because people are going to criticize him for not spending enough time in his home state, I'm sure, over the next few years. But when you're a national figure and you can just go on David Letterman and joke it up, a state senator is going to be pretty scared of you, I think, in your own party especially. Yep. And that's helpful for him. But as you mentioned, he is going to tack right. He's going to use this campaign to burnish his Republican credentials. I think he's got a tough row to hoe there, though, because let me tell you, if he were running in a primary tomorrow against some of the people like Ted Cruz, that are out there on the other side, he would lose.
I always argue he's underestimated, Andrew, but it is tough to see a path, as much as I think there is one, that he can convince in a Republican presidential primary that he's right enough.
That's why he wants to run up the score on Barbara Buono as much as he can, because his biggest selling point to Republicans is, I can actually win.
Okay, but if he was trying to do that, he would go more in a blue state on issues like gay marriage. He'd pick other social issues.
He doesn't have to.
He wouldn't. That's exactly. To address Evan's issue too about him running for office, as we all know, issue in New York with Hillary in the Senate and so forth. Every voter's a stargazer. They want, hey, my guy's going to be president. My girl's going to be president. This is terrific. They encourage that kind of stuff, even though the opponents say, oh, it's terrible stuff. So that's not an issue, number one. Number two, Andrew Cuomo is going to try to do it next year too. The bigger the gap, the bigger the win, the bigger the spin.
But my only point is he's doing certain things right now.
But it's not the win, it's the spin. So therefore, if he runs up 30 points, Andrew runs up 20 points, if there's not a strong enough Republican against him.
But I'm saying something different, Obie. I'm saying if he only cared about the margin of victory, okay, he'd be doing different things that could get up to 35, even 40.
Well,
what he's trying to do now, I think, is
because if he did those things, it would come back to haunt him.
Well, that's
when
my
he runs
point.
for president.
I think he's sacrificing some of his lead now to help him in 2016 by going right.
But actually, if you think when he goes to those things, let's say he got him 2 more points. At the end of the day, what will that really guarantee? I mean, there's a certain amount. I mean, look at any candidate, any party. There's a minimum. There's a 30 or 40% number that no matter what your opponent's going to get.
Chelsea Clinton. If anybody said 10 years ago that she would be considering running for office, you'd say no way after the experience, obviously, that was the second term of the Clinton years, especially all the personal fallout. Well, she told CNN on Monday in Rwanda during a 9-day trip through Africa with her father that she wouldn't rule it out running for higher office. And she said, I'm grateful to live in a city, in a state, in a country where I really believe in elected officials and their ethos and competencies. Someday, if either of those were true, and I thought I could make more of a difference in the public sector, she went on to say she would consider running here. Dominic, let me ask you, you've seen firsthand political families, not only under the microscope, but even crumble here during scandals, et cetera. But I'm always amazed. This isn't a Democrat thing. It's a Republican thing. You'd think with the Bushes, why would you go into the family business after everything that happened? So many of these folks follow in their father's or mother's footsteps. And I'm always curious as to why. They give up their personal lives. They see the glare of it. They see how it can lead to ugliness in the household. but still they want to do it. You surprised?
Not at all. I could have guaranteed you
Why?
years ago that Chelsea Clinton would one day run for office. Quick story. The day that Hillary Clinton got out of the race, I was in Washington when she made the big announcement, and Chelsea was with her, and she was conceding to Obama. It was over. The world thought that Hillary Clinton was done. She had lost to this newcomer, Barack Obama. I recall
I love you looking to
flying,
Obi for his name, but all right, yeah.
I recall flying back to New York on a shuttle, and so you saw the black vehicle. We were on the plane about to board. You saw the black vehicle pull up on the tarmac. Out walks this agent, and he was dressed regular, but you could tell because you always tell because of the thing. So he sits on the plane. Guess who comes on the plane? Chelsea Clinton.
Sure.
Guess who else is on the plane? Now she's sitting up front, and it looks like she's by herself. But there are 4 different agents, government agents, on the plane assigned to protect her. Do you think anybody wants to give up that type of lifestyle, being a star?
Well, it's not
of
just.
course. It's not just that.
No,
but
no,
it's a large part of it.
I will give
They
any
enjoy
child-
the platform. They enjoy the stage.
No.
They enjoy
You know
the
what there is?
benefits.
It's a simple thing. It's a comfort factor too. I mean, once you're around it and you see it and you live it, I mean, Evan may see it differently a little bit. There's a comfort factor. The other thing too is once politics in your blood, there's only one thing that replaces it: embalming fluid. It's there for life.
I agree with that one.
I'm going to take. Look, I spent a little bit of time with the Clintons. And Chelsea, and I think it's about service. I know that sounds corny.
Yeah.
I know how corny it sounds.
I
I got to be honest. I don't think that it was service for Bill Clinton. After a while, I think it was absolutely service for Hillary Clinton, getting beyond Bill Clinton,
Evan, that's
and now
good
it's
spin.
definitely for Chelsea.
Evan,
We will
good
continue
spin,
this
Evan, good
conversation
spin.
after the break.